Nick had developed a super rifle, but when he tested its power, he was surprised to find only a small bullet hole in the concrete surface. However, behind the concrete, a massive cloud of dust rose up. Everyone rushed over to see what had happened. Upon inspection, they were astonished to discover that the 5-meter-thick concrete had been completely penetrated, leaving a huge cavity on the backside. Even nearby buildings had suffered catastrophic damage. To increase the weapon's power, Nick swapped in a brand new custom battery and had his teammate set up a camera to record the entire process. As Nick squeezed the trigger for a series of shots, a distant iron bridge collapsed in an instant. The group realized the rifle's incredible destructive capability, and they quickly decided to present the footage to the military in hopes of selling the weapon for a hefty reward. However, the military commander, William, was skeptical and suspected the video was fabricated. He insisted that Nick bring the weapon to the shooting range for a real-world test. When William saw Nick pull out toy-like electric guns, he showed a dismissive expression. Yet, Nick remained calm and unconcerned. Aiming at a heavy tank, he pulled the trigger. The thick armor melted away as if it were made of paper, and the shockwave knocked everyone off their feet. William was both shocked and pleased. Eager to buy the rifle and its development technology, he approached Nick to ask for a price. After witnessing the weapon's astonishing power, the military brass was desperate to secure it. However, Nick demanded an exorbitant price of $100 million. To his surprise, William immediately agreed and promised to gather the funds and complete the transaction within 3 days. What Nick didn't anticipate was that William was secretly plotting a scheme, looking into Nick's social circle and weaknesses. Soon, the day of the transaction arrived. Although Nick was eager to welcome his newfound wealth, he still harbored concerns. To be cautious, he entrusted the weapon to a trusted friend and went alone to the agreed location. However, instead of a financial exchange, Nick encountered cold weapons and threats. Even more despairing was the fact that his family had been taken hostage by William. Forced to comply, Nick called his teammates and handed over the weapon and the data to William. Once everything was confirmed, William released Nick and his family, but Nick wasn't entirely unprepared. He had secretly implanted a tracker in the weapon. Leading his teammates for a swift counterattack, they set up a signal booster on the rooftop. Monitoring the movements of the enemy vehicle, Nick noticed it was within range. Without hesitation, he pulled out the newly developed second-generation super rifle. Though it resembled a toy water gun, it contained power far beyond its predecessor. As the distance closed, Nick slowly squeezed the trigger.